Alexander the Great, a genius of strategy, ruler of an empire, and creator of an era. His name became synonymous with military brilliance, boundless ambition, and audacity that altered the course of world history. A man who turned into a legend in his own lifetime, a conqueror whose empire stretched from the rugged mountains of the Balkan Peninsula to the fertile valleys of the Indus, from the scorching deserts of Egypt to the snowy peaks of the Hindu Kush. In just one decade, he achieved the impossible. He crushed the greatest power of his time, the Persian Empire, united dozens of peoples under his rule, and created a state where the cultures of West and East intertwined. Alexander was born in July 356 BC in Pella, the capital of the Macedonian kingdom. His father, Philip II, was an outstanding ruler and reformer who transformed Macedonia from a backward periphery of the Greek world into a formidable military power. His mother, Olympias, a queen from the Epirus dynasty, was a commanding and mystically inclined woman who claimed her son was born of Zeus himself. Even in childhood, Alexander displayed extraordinary abilities. He was physically strong, resilient, possessed a sharp mind, and an incredible will to win. One legend tells how, at age 10, he tamed the wild horse Bucephalus, which no adult warrior could subdue. This horse later became his loyal companion on campaigns. When Alexander was 13, Philip invited Aristotle, the greatest philosopher of the era, to be his mentor. Under his guidance, the young prince studied philosophy, medicine, geography, literature, and politics. He was particularly fascinated by Homer's Iliad, considering Achilles his ideal. But while Aristotle taught him to think, Alexander learned the art of war from Macedonia's finest generals. He mastered the tactics of the phalanx, the art of cavalry charges, and the strategy of conducting long campaigns. His first military successes came early. At 16, Alexander received his baptism of fire. In Philip's absence, he crushed a rebellion of the Thracian Medes tribe, proving himself a decisive and ruthless commander. In 338 BC, at the Battle of Kyrenia, 18-year-old Alexander commanded the cavalry and delivered a decisive blow to the elite Theban sacred band. This victory solidified Macedonia's hegemony over Greece. In 336 BC, Philip II was assassinated by his bodyguard Pausanias during his daughter's wedding. It remains a mystery whether Alexander, his mother Olympias, or Persian agents were behind the murder. Regardless, 20-year-old Alexander swiftly seized power. He executed all potential rivals, including his cousin Amyntas, and brutally suppressed rebellions in Greece, razing the defiant city of Thebes. Philip had planned a campaign against Persia, and Alexander took up his cause. In the spring of 334 BC, he crossed the Hellespont, modern Dardanelles, with an army of 35,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry. First victories in Asia Minor. The first major battle took place at the Granicus River. Persian satraps positioned their forces on a high bank, believing it impregnable. But Alexander personally led a cavalry charge and broke through their ranks. He then liberated Greek cities in Asia Minor, proclaiming himself a defender of Hellenic freedom. In Gordium, he famously cut the Gordian knot. Legend held that whoever untied it would become the ruler of Asia. The defeat of the Persian Empire. From Issus to Gaugamela. Battle of Issus, 333 BC. After his victory at Granicus, 334 BC, Alexander continued his conquest of Asia Minor. Persian king Darius III Codomanus decided to personally lead his army to stop the Macedonians. The Persians had a significant numerical advantage, including Greek mercenaries, cavalry, and light infantry. The battle took place on a narrow coastal plain by the Panaris River, modern Turkey. Darius chose a poor position, limiting his larger army's maneuverability. During the battle, Alexander attacked the Persian left flank, where Greek mercenaries stood. The Macedonian phalanx broke through the center despite fierce resistance. Alexander's companion cavalry struck the Persian flank and rear. Seeing his army collapsing, Darius fled, abandoning his family, mother, wife, and daughters. Alexander captured Darius' camp and graciously spared his family's lives. The Persians lost 20,000 to 30,000 men, the Macedonians around 5,000. The path to Phoenicia and Egypt was open. Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BC. After Issus, Darius offered peace, ceding lands up to the Euphrates, but Alexander rejected it and marched deeper into Persia. The Persians again had a numerical advantage, including Bactrian and Scythian cavalry, scythe chariots, and war elephants. Alexander used an oblique battle formation to neutralize their numbers. The companion cavalry broke the Persian left flank and charged toward Darius. The Persian king fled once more, deciding the battle's outcome. The Persian Empire fell. Alexander became the king of Asia. Darius was soon killed by his satrap Bessus. From Issus to Gaugamela, Alexander demonstrated tactical superiority, defeating the Persians' larger forces. Darius' fall paved the way for Alexander's global empire. Siege of Tyre and conquest of Egypt. After Issus, Alexander moved to Phoenicia. The siege of the island city of Tyre lasted 7 months and was one of his most challenging operations. By building a causeway, he took the city by storm, slaughtering thousands of defenders. In 332 BC, he entered Egypt, where he was proclaimed pharaoh. Priests declared him the son of the god Amun-Re. In the Siwa oasis, he received divine confirmation of his mission. There he founded Alexandria, the future center of the Hellenistic world. Decisive Battle of Gaugamela, 331 BC. Darius assembled a massive new army, including war elephants and scythe chariots. But Alexander executed a brilliant maneuver, luring the Persian cavalry into a trap, breaking through to the center, and forcing Darius to flee. The Persian Empire collapsed. Alexander occupied Babylon, Susa, and Persepolis, where he burned Xerxes' palace in retaliation for the burning of Athens in 480 BC. Campaign to the east, to the edge of the Oikumene. Pursuit of Darius and the death of the Persian king. Darius fled to Bactria but was killed by his own satraps. Alexander declared himself his successor and married the Bactrian princess Roxana. War in Central Asia. Conquering Bactria and Sogdiana was grueling. Local tribes used guerrilla tactics. Alexander showed both cruelty, destroying Syropolis, and political flexibility, marrying Roxana. Campaign in India, 327 to 325 BC. Crossing the Hindu Kush, he invaded the Punjab. In the Battle of Hydaspes, 326 BC. He defeated King Porus but, admiring his bravery, allowed him to keep his kingdom. However, at the Hyphasis River, his army mutinied, refusing to march further into unknown lands. Alexander was forced to turn back. The decline of the empire, death and legacy, return and final plans. In 324 BC, Alexander returned to Babylon. He planned campaigns to Arabia, Carthage, and even Italy, but fate intervened. Mysterious death, 323 BC. After a feast, Alexander fell ill with a fever. On June 10, 323 BC, he died at age 32. The cause of death remains debated. Malaria, the view of most historians. Poisoning, possibly arsenic or white hellebore. Consequences of wounds and alcoholism. Collapse of the empire and the era of the Diadochi. With no designated heir, wars broke out among Alexander's generals, the Diadochi. The empire fragmented into several Hellenistic kingdoms. Historical significance. A man who changed the world. Alexander perfected the phalanx, created a mobile cavalry, and developed tactics for combined strikes. His strategies are studied to this day. Cultural revolution. Hellenism. He founded over 20 cities, blending Greek and Eastern cultures, creating the Hellenistic civilization. Myth and reality. Some saw him as an enlightened monarch, others as a ruthless conqueror. Yet his name remains a symbol of greatness. I am dying from too many doctors. Alexander's last words, according to legend. His life was short but brilliant like a flash of lightning. He changed the world and became a legend,